Hi, my name is Becca Mottweiler, and today we are going to talk about ERP systems. So, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. These systems are designed pretty much to consolidate all the business processes into one complete system that is electronic, so you can access it anywhere in your company or your plant. And these really help companies grow and to organize their business because when everything's on paper, it is really hard to stay organized. It's really hard to grow. So these ERP systems really help with that. And these systems, there's many different systems you can pick from. There's SAP, Oracle, Lawson Software. There are just so many of them, and they are very helpful for companies. But a lot of famous companies have had failures, and one failure that I'm going to tell you about today is Hershey's failure in 1999. So in 1999, Hershey spent over $112 million on basically three systems. They bought the SAP R3 ERP system, they bought a supply chain management software, and a customer relationship software. So they bought all those three at the same time, and they ended up failing. So not only did they lose that $112 million that they spent on all those systems, they also lost over $110 million, I think it was, on the orders that they couldn't satisfy because the system wasn't working correctly, they couldn't find the orders, and all that sort of thing. Their stock price actually did end up dropping because of this as well, and people just didn't trust their company because their orders weren't being satisfied. So it took them about 9 months before people started trusting their company again. So they tried to implant all these three systems together, which wasn't very helpful. I think if they did one system at a time, that it would have turned out better and they wouldn't have lost so much money, but they decided to do all three at one time. And as well as deciding to do all three at one time, they decided to do it during their busiest time of the year, which also wasn't a very good idea. But I think that also contributed to why the ERP systems did fail. And the creators of this system told Hershey that the system would take 48 months to install and implant and teach everybody, but Hershey demanded that it be done in 30 months, so that's also another problem. I think that if Hershey had those extra months, that it would have been fine. And so since they didn't have those months, it didn't work. They did three systems at once. They weren't ready for that, and they did it during the busiest time of the year. So employees were busy trying to fill orders, make candies and that kind of thing, and so the employees didn't actually get to learn the system correctly. So when nobody knows how to use the system, how are you going to use the system? Obviously, since then, Hershey has figured out a system that works for them, and they have a very successful system now. They still make candy all over the world, but this just goes to show the importance of ERP and what ERP can do for your company, and if you don't do it correctly, how detrimental it can be to a certain company. Hershey obviously hasn't forgotten about this, and it's still a very well-known ERP failure that people look at to realize that ERP systems do fail sometimes. There are a lot of other people who have also tried to implement ERP systems that have also failed, such as Nike. I know the Army has tried one, and there are just thousands of other companies who have also failed. But when you're going from a system that's not electronic to a fully electronic system, you're obviously going to have some bumps. But you should always slow down and make sure you're learning it correctly, and to just trust the people who know what they're doing. If the people who are implementing the system say it's going to take longer, to probably trust them. And I got all of this information off academia.edu about the Hershey ERP failure.